This is a Hot Pie Media original.
I'm going to work pretty hard at bringing more people in because I don't want someone to think, man, I'm out. This is just for football nerds. No. There's a lot to this. So I will find a way to bring more people in and to give you a few different ways to really think about this. The impact shouldn't be lost. The obscenity of what has happened shouldn't be lost. But there are interesting arguments here that if we were sitting down having a good glass of Cabernet or coffee or something, there's some deeper arguments that need to be made. And so I'll do that. I think I can do a pretty decent job of it. I thought the University of Texas, said it several years ago probably, would be the first school to pay its football coach $10 million a year. Now, honestly, if Texas were in the marketplace today, they would be doing the exact same thing. So it would have happened. I think I might have been a year off in that happening. But obviously now in the last 48 hours, the $10 million a year threshold has been blown out of the water. I mean, it's like it's nothing now. So I was wrong a little bit. Now, these are obscene salary packages. Now you know why I call it professional college football. Now you know. I've said it for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. It's professional college football. And now you know why. Now, here's how I'm going to bring more people into this. I know the immediate and understandable reaction is this. How can someone justify paying a football coach more than a professor? Right. It's the same moral argument people have. And by the way, there's no solution to this. How can you pay an actor more than a school teacher? How can you pay a talk show host more than somebody who's driving an ambulance today? If you go down that moral path, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and it's impossible. And frankly, it's not worth the time and the energy to apply that moral argument to this. I can't morally justify why I make a lot more money than my kid's teacher. Market forces is the answer. Not morality, market forces. Market forces is in play with these obscene salary packages. I'm not just going to say salary. I'm talking about salary packages for these college football coaches. It's market forces. It really is. Demand is that high. So even though you're inclined, everybody wants to, we all do it. We want to have that moral argument about comparing salaries. I'm going to ask that you don't do that, or just check yourself on that one. There's something else that should be in play. There's something else that is, I think, a deeper issue. So let go of that one. I don't think it's going to serve you well. I don't think it's going to make any sense. I think just say, market forces. Okay, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't get the morality of that, but okay, I'll accept it for now, Ward. So what's next? Well, I'll show you what's next. I'll take you there. I'll take you to the place where the discussion should be. Let's start. Kids, I feel like I'm talking to my kids. You really should only have to make $100 million once. Probably should only have to make $5 million once, but I love that. I just love saying that. You should really only have to make $100 million once. And that's a good day. I am not going to condemn anybody, certainly not with these numbers and these perks. I will not condemn anybody for jumping on the first private plane and saying, I'm out, give me my stuff. Absolutely. It's professional college football. Okay? So LSU has a new football coach. I'll start here. First up, his name is Brian Kelly. He's leaving Notre Dame. He left Notre Dame. He left Notre Dame with a text message. That's a one-loss Notre Dame. He left for LSU, state school. He left the team that is going into the college football playoff, as in playing in the semifinal, as in to play for a national championship. Now, they would lose again, which, by the way, I believe is the very reason why he bolted to LSU. But this is rare territory to say, I'm out before your team is in the Final Four. That's a tough one to swallow if you're at Notre Dame. But it's about the money. It's about the money. It's about the talent. Imagine if a starting quarterback for a team did that. I thought about that. Imagine if a player said, yeah, I know we're going to play in the Final Four. I'm out, man. I want to save my knees. Imagine the reaction. So he leaves via text message, reportedly. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here. I don't know the right way to bail. When you sign the deal and you want to get out and you want to get the money and you want to go somewhere else because you can win more. College football is a mostly Southern poor kids game. There's just better players in the South. There is an absolute obsession with the game in the South. They'll give you anything to win with no rules or stipulations in the South. At Notre Dame, there are a lot of rules, a lot of stipulations, and a lot of priests looking over your shoulder. It's not the easiest gig to coach, so of course you're going to jump at the chance to make $100 million to go somewhere where there are no standards except winning. None. Nothing else matters. So, yeah, he wants to make a lot of money, he wants to coach, and he wants to be around a bunch of talented players, so he's off to LSU, a state school. He got more than $100 million. Not just that. He gets $100 million. Here is the basics of the deal. Brian Kelly is set to receive just over $100 million over 10 years. Much of that is guaranteed. Guaranteed. Life is good, man. It's not just that. One of the stipulations, one of the things within this. By the way, he gets something like he gets $500,000 for each year for staying with the team. $500,000 for not quitting. I love that one. It's $500,000. His pay will increase $500,000 each year while he's with the team. Just breathe. Just show up to work, and it's an additional $500,000. As of day one, 90% of the salary is guaranteed. Then it goes on and on and on, and there's all sorts of stipulations. My favorite part is he gets something like $125,000 per win. He gets a $1.2 million interest-free loan for a house. Interest-free. I mean, tell me you wouldn't be on the first plane out of snowy South Bend. Now, Jeff, my gosh, it's a state school. It's a state school. I don't care if you're offended by this because I don't think it's that far off. In a place that's, well, not doing so hot. Louisiana is one of the poorest places in the country. Yeah, it's hard to square up. Public school, and that's the kind of deal they put together. I'll explain. I will explain to you. Well, but just appreciate these numbers, these grotesque numbers. $500,000 just to show up to work. You got $10 million. You got $100 million almost guaranteed. You got $90 million guaranteed. Guaranteed. From a state school, a poor state, and a state school. Then you get to the private school with a lot of money. This is Star Wars College, that USC. All right, so Lincoln Riley, who's the head coach at Oklahoma, is leaving Oklahoma to go to USC. Now, this is tough to get all these numbers because it's a private school, very private school. And here's his deal. He gets $110 million guaranteed. He gets a $6 million house. Okay? $110 million, a $6 million home. He gets unlimited use of a private jet. And I've seen the jet. It's gold. John McClellan is the co-founder and creator of ATX Hot Sauce, now in all 50 states and several retail outlets as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to let this social media rock star chef walk us through 4 different sauces, and then I'll taste, and we'll tell everyone why they should buy. You can give the science behind these, and then I'll make the simple recommendation. Go to atxhotsauce.com. All right,
I don't think anybody's heard the website.
Yeah, I know.
By you, Jeff, but it is atxhotsauce.com.
I'll say
I got that one right.
45 times, atxhotsauce.com. So let's do it.
I brought 4 flavors here, and we're going to test your palate today. Okay. And I only brought 4 because I didn't think you could handle 5 or 6.
Yes,
probably a smart move. Yeah. And so the first one we're going to try here, it's called Beet Heat. And just like the name implies, it has beets in it. It's made with red Fresno peppers. Red Fresnos are red peppers that are they're hotter than a jalapeno and a little bit less than a serrano. So not super hot here, just a lot of really good flavor. So we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to move up the chain.
Okay. I've had the Beet Heat, but okay.
Yeah, we're going to try it though.
It goes well with a cab. All right, Jeff's savoring Beet Heat.
I'll even do it with you, so that should be all right. Now remember, it is hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's hot sauce. Trust me, man.
Wait, is that one hot to you?
No. A little.
Yeah. The great thing with the fermentation process is you get a bunch of the flavor right up front.
Yeah.
And then the heat comes, but then it dissipates pretty quickly, especially with the red Fresnos. This is not a very spicy one, but it is a very tasty one. Goes on great on sandwiches.
Beet Heat.
Beet Heat. B-E-E-T. Heat.
All right. Go to atxhotsauce.com.
That's right.
Not real gold, but it's painted gold. 24/7 for his family. Gets a private jet. Now, I'm not including country club memberships and all that stuff. Okay, so you got 110 million. A house for $6 million. They got him a house. Now, I know $6 million in Los Angeles is not exactly $6 million in Norman, Oklahoma. I mean, I don't even know if all the real estate put together is worth $6 million in Norman, Oklahoma. But it's still a pretty good start to your working life when they bought you the house. Here's my favorite part. Part of the deal was he has 2 homes in Oklahoma. I don't know why. I wouldn't want to have any, but whatever. They agreed, USC bought both houses for $500,000 over the asking price. They bought his houses and gave him one in LA for $6 million. Got it? You'd take it? Of course you would. You and the kids would be on the plane in no time. These are crazy numbers. It's not just the crazy guaranteed contracts. Those are almost commonplace now. It is the perks thrown in there. Interest-free loans, buying off houses, giving away jets. I mean, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Just to put this in perspective, in college sports, mainly football and basketball, last year alone, $533.6 million went to coaches who aren't working. That's what happens to guaranteed contracts. So, okay, Jeff, whatever. You said it's market forces. It is market forces. This is what the market is doing. Where I think people are confused. Now, there's 2 ways that people operate with this kind of stuff. One, you get stuck in a place where I don't even want to hear this. Schools are cutting back. At Oklahoma, I believe they cut back salaries for something like 100 professors. They eliminated some college sports. USC has had its own scandals, obviously, right? You had the scholarship scandal with the celebrities. So how do they justify it? Yeah, that's the tricky, complicated, slimy part on top of all the other slimy parts. And who pays them? That's the real question. Who pays them? It's not fair to say that coach getting $100 million means that professor is going to be paid less. That's not true. They're not dollar for dollar. They're not even the same dollars. They're not even the same dollars coming from the same places. So the better question is not how does a school morally justify this? How does a school financially justify this? The better way to look at it is, who do these men work for? Because they don't work for the school. That's the issue. Now, they don't care, and college football fans don't care. In Louisiana, it doesn't matter how poor they are, they don't care. They really don't care. They just want to win. So what these things are, these college coaches and their salaries. Let's see if I could put this, how do I put this somewhat politely? Their money, they don't work for the school. The school's not paying them. They didn't cut from somewhere. They didn't cut from a library. They didn't cut from a grant and aid for impoverished students. They didn't cut from the biology department. They didn't even get involved at all. The school provides very little of this. These men are not working for the school, and the football programs are not even part of the school. That's what should bother people. Or it makes you feel better. Take your pick. So don't think for a second, well, this is ridiculous because I was once a teaching assistant. I lost my gig, or I was a lecturer on a college campus and they cut back on lectures and now they pay the coach this. Yeah. I can see why you would think that, but the money's not coming from the same places. So if you take out the Jeff Ward pie chart that I like to do, the money comes from other places. And that is, it's not coming from tuition. It's not coming from student fees, or very little of it is coming from those places. It's coming from athletic department Inc., okay? Skyboxes, ticket sales, beer, nachos, blah, 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 stuff. Part of it in this pie chart is coming from that, a small part of it. Another part of it is coming from media, outside media. TV and radio rights deals, which are stupid, by the way. Sorry. They're dumb deals. That's where you get these just horrible coaches shows that nobody watches. Those are only a facade for a media to go negotiate a media deal, sell advertising to it, and throw that money at this coach. The shows suck, and they're so bad they're good. Nobody watches them, but it makes these guys a lot of money. The 12-second interview that you hear that they hate to do and they don't say anything, it makes them a lot of money. So you have this separate media entity paying them, which is kind of a brother-in-law deal, which is a little slimy and sinister itself. My point is, I'm going to tell you all the other areas that have nothing to do with the school where the money is coming from. The money's not coming from the school. They don't even work for the school. So they work for three principal people, mainly one group, mainly a few guys. College football and these coaches are rich alumni, white rich alumni, their ownership of a pro team. They're all acting like Jerry Jones. Now, Jerry Jones would be smarter with his money than this, but that's what they are. That's what this is. That's what drove this. That's where the money comes from. And that's who's the boss. Think of these college programs and these coaches working for their own versions of Jerry Jones with school stuff on. That's who did this. So the money comes from, got Athletic Inc., then you've got media, and then you got the swoosh. And the swoosh pays a lot. Swoosh says, I want to own the marketplace. I want a giant billboard. And I'm going to pay you to put that swoosh on your shirt. And I'm going to pay you a lot. That's another big chunk of change for these coaches is the swoosh or Under Armour or Adidas or whatever is on their shirt. But that's another big source of money. Then the other is let's get the rich guys together, come up with some money, and throw it at this coach. That's the Jerry Jones part of this. So what people should be asking, what people should be bothered by, and should bother school presidents. And you have to ask yourself, so they're wearing the school colors. They talk about the school. They have a really nice office at the school. But they don't really work for the school. Yeah. In fact, the entire operation doesn't live on the same standards as the school. They don't have the same academic standards. They have their own study halls. It's the thing that people don't want the curtain pulled back is to realize how professionally separate Athletic Inc. is, including this coach, who these guys aren't going to answer to some faculty member. They don't care. They're never going to see them. Who they answer to is the swoosh the Jerry Jones wannabes, and that's it. That's who paid this deal. So don't freak out and say my kid's college tuition is going up because of this. It's not even fair to freak out, although priorities are screwed up. If you want to start to pick away at priorities, then ask yourself, why would rich people do this and not something else? I mean, why not the same kind of money thrown at some program? Now, rich people do give money. I mean, colleges want you to go to school there, and they want you to do well, and they want you to go on and graduate and do well, so you'll give money back. But that's where the money is coming from. These are alumni, hangers-on, or people who want to be Jerry Jones, who are going to throw any amount of money at it. If you want to ask yourself why it is that a rich person would want to do this, that's a better question than, gosh, this is morally so corrupt, and they're taking money from the rest of the school. They're not. They're not. That's the deeper question. That's why I call it professional college football. They act like pro teams. They act like pro teams, and this is what you shouldn't tolerate. You want to act like a pro? I'll treat you like a pro. Don't whine and say student athlete when the crowd is booing. Don't give me that. You want to act like a pro. You want to get paid like a pro. You want to, I think, get paid more than pros. You want to do all this stuff like you're a pro franchise. And then when it's not convenient, or when it is convenient, you want to act like you're part of the school. That's not true. They're not part of the school. They're not. They are packaged and owned by the entities I just told you about. Now, I don't know if that makes you feel better or feel worse. It is an amazing, these are obscene numbers. I don't disagree, but that's how it works. And you know what? It's not going to stop. Guess what? The next one's going to be 150 million. And by the way, if somebody wins right down the street in this town, they'll get that. This kind of money will be thrown. This is not going away. It's not.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.